I'm sure you've heard the expression, and now the plot thickens. Because we've been bringing to you information that all centers around a man by the name of Enoch, who God says, come on home with me. And it says Enoch was not, because God took him, which to me, if I was a person who had never read this scripture, had not read any scripture, I'd want to know, who is God? Who is this God that took Enoch and just took him away? Well, so we've gone back. We've gone back to the book of Genesis, and we've read about how it says, and God created. He created the heavens and the earth, and he began to divide it up, and then he began to create. He created trees, he created birds, he created all kinds of animals. And then it says he created man. And he breathed the breath of life into him, and he became a living soul. This is what the book of Genesis says. But this is the part where the plot thickens. And it begins in chapter 3 of the book of Genesis, and it says, now the serpent. Well, I've got more questions here. Who is the serpent, and where did he come from? And one of the things that just drives me crazy whenever I'm reading a book, especially if it's fiction, if they just, all of a sudden, you're just reading along, and then all of a sudden they've just introduced a new character. And I didn't catch. Maybe he might have been mentioned somewhere in the beginning of the book, but I didn't remember. Now I got to go back, and I got to figure out, who is this character? So here I am reading the book of Genesis, chapter 3, and then it talks about the serpent. And I'm going, well, who, what? Where did he come from? And that's a good question, because we know that the serpent was the beguiler. I mean, he's the one that threw everything into a tailspin in this creation that God had created, where he had created this this earth, and then he had created this beautiful garden, and then he created his friend Adam to be in there to till the garden, and it's just beautiful. It's just perfect. Until the serpent shows up. Who is this serpent? Well, for those of you who maybe have never heard the story about God and creation, the serpent is the devil. Now, who is the devil? And where did he come from? Because we don't read about him in the beginning. In the starting of the creation, it mentions nothing about a devil. It mentions nothing about a serpent. Where did he come from? Well, like I say, there's a lot of theories about that. No, we won't go into all of that, but the truth of the matter is the serpent represents the adversary to God. In other words, the serpent has come to destroy everything that God had created. He'd come to disrupt, and he'd come to lie and to tell lies. And guess what? He's still at it. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.